right, we are here with the FirstHome IQ Masterclass, and today we are chatting with Patty Newby. And Patty, I know you are such a high producer, education first leader, and just so thrilled to have you here.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Happy to be part of Home IQ and all the great tech that rolls it all together.
Yeah,
It's an exciting time to be in our industry.
it is. It
Very
is.
exciting.
And Dave, I know you have interviewed Patty in the past and know her well, so I'm going to let you make the introduction and then we can dive in.
Sounds good. Uh, can you guys see me?
You're frozen. Oh,
Um,
there we go. You're here.
okay.
Okay.
I paid for the extra hotel internet, the enhanced internet, just so everybody knows. So guys, Patty Newby is a very special mortgage professional, not just because she's incredibly successful. Now, Patty, I've interviewed you multiple times. I'm trying to remember, did you do over 100 million last year?
124 and change.
There you go.
And that was for my branch. My production was like 94, but we were up 23 million over the previous year.
Yeah, so just incredible production. But to me, what really distinguishes Patty is the quality of the experience that she delivers to consumers. She has done thousands of mortgage coach experience, so she is a grandmaster. She doesn't just, this is what you qualify, here's your rate, here's your payment, here's your cash to close. She makes sure every customer that she serves is getting financial literacy. They're making the best possible decision. When she heard about FirstHome IQ, like she was like, I'm in. She is a tremendous financial literacy ambassador in the communities that she serves. She also is always going to have a seat at the table. She's an incredible marketer. She goes by the loan designer. I got that right? The loan designer. So she's got a cool brand, great marketer, kills it with FirstHome IQ. She also is really smart around the way she adopts technology. Well, she's not necessarily like a technology person for the sake of technology, but when she sees a technology that can improve the experience for a buyer, for a homeowner, for a consumer, she adopts it. She knows how to go like, you know what? I need to unlearn one way of doing things that's old, and I need to learn a new way to do things. So she's also a tremendous adopter and ambassador of housing.link, which is an incredible technology platform as well. So Patty, welcome to this community. This is a mastermind. Hopefully we're going to have a lot of engagement, a lot of questions. So everyone, I encourage people during these masterminds to have your cameras on if you can. And the more interaction we get from everybody, the more valuable the experience and the funner it is for everyone. So let's go.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, everybody
sharing, or you just lead me
well,
down the path.
I'd love to start with just hearing a little bit from you. When did you start, or what made you decide to start making financial literacy part of your business strategy? Like, what motivated you around that?
Well, first of all, it's my background. But when my kids turned 14, I got them all a credit card. And so they wouldn't be stupid or do anything else. It's like $200. I started teaching them about money. And I will tell you that I'm a person that doesn't keep a lot of cash. So when my kids were really little, I would purposely not have cash. And back then, I know I'm dating myself, they kept their allowance in a butter tin that they colored on. And I would tell my son in particular, oh, there's no money for pizza. I need $20. And I would have him calculate the interest on it so that he started learning about interest at a young age, and taught that with my kids. And funny story is I found the darn butter container when he got married, and I added up all the IOUs and compounded the interest over whatever, 25, 30 years, and owed him like $1,620. And I gave him a check for $1,620. But I think that we have to teach our kids this young. We need to teach our parents to teach the kids. And I think the biggest thing that drives me insane, and I'm assuming every loan officer out here, is the sweet client that is trying to buy a house, but somewhere along the line, they did something crazy. They didn't get the education in high school, middle school, college, and post-college because we're throwing credit at everybody. And now they come to us and buy a house. And with our hearts, we want to help them, but they've got themselves into a pickle with cars or student loans or debt. And all we can do is advise and try to coach them up to get prepared, but we've got to get out there ahead of time. And I feel like if I help my little tiny community by education, maybe you'll list your house so my client can buy it. Or maybe my buyer will actually get off the fence and stop waiting for rates to go down to 2%. So
That
compassion.
brings up so with our FirstHome IQ quiz, we're measuring where people are in their knowledge about buying a home, and the average score is 57%, super low. I would love to know from you. I mean, you started to touch on some of this, but what are some of the knowledge gaps that you see around financial literacy with your clients today?
I think people go out and spend money that they shouldn't be spending because they have to have it. And they don't realize, ooh, I just got a sweater for 50% off. And now it's costing you $300 because you can't pay it. And, you know, I think I can mention this online, but like I would go to Target or something. I don't do that anymore. And you go to Target for one thing or the grocery store or whatever it is, and you come out with $300 of stuff you don't need. So I don't think we screenshot and do a Zoom call with people's debts. And when they see it in a single screenshot or Zoom, they don't realize the amount of debt they have. So I think it's that lack of knowledge of what their behaviors have actually done to them financially.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know you've incorporated education not just with your clients, but also in the way that you know, manage your realtor relationships and builder relationships. And I'd love to just hear a little bit about, you know, what that looks like for you.
So first of all, I sent my entire team the mortgage quiz, and my people that were licensed, they got it, but my people that were not licensed, oh, not so good. And then when I did my business rollout with my realtors in January, I gave it all to them. They didn't do so well either, but there's a knowledge gap. And then I have been posting it in my newsletter with a link that I send out on a weekly basis. And sometimes people are doing the test and I'm like, oh, who is that? Whose client is that? But it doesn't tell you. So we've been having a lot of fun with it. And I think it should be fun. That's where the education can start. It's a great test, a great quiz.
So, and Patty is referring to the FirstHome IQ quiz. We'll
Yes.
drop that in chat so that if you haven't taken it or shared it, you can access that. But yeah, it's a good tool. It's one of, you know, one of many tools, but that you can use to start conversations and really, yeah, I think use that to build relationships and leadership around that.
And I need to do a video on that too. Sorry, I'm writing my notes. These are my videos this afternoon.
I love that. So, you know, how have you, like, what does your presentation process look like in terms of like, what have you found works? What kind of technology are you using that you find works to share that kind of education?
Yep. Well, I have a lot of tech stacks, but I have 4 tech stacks that we live and die by. So first one, not because Dave's on the line, but because it's the oldest one, the mortgage coach. We just never not do that. And when I say never, there's sometimes when we have an older client that they just, that's not going to be their thing. And we'll do some screenshots, but we're still going to do it. So I actually looked, we have over 18,000 views. I had someone tell me that, oh, we don't need that tech. That's too fancy. Yeah, I call baloney on that because it takes the rate and it makes it, rate is an emotion. Let me show you how to save some money. So first we put a TCA together. I called it TCA, whatever, mortgage coach. And then we throw it into what we now call Housing Link. And Housing Link, it used to be known as Lender Marketing Platform. Scott Nicholson is a CEO. I got introduced to that from Dave. I saw that 5.5 years ago or whatever that was. And I'm like, oh, I don't care what it costs. I have to have that. And what's cool about that is the analytics are coming back. But how do I know it's valuable? Is our clients were jumping on that 10, 20, 40 times, getting the information that they need at whatever time of night or day. And we put all of our things into one tool. We use Housing Link for life. And I know some folks put their final CD in there. We don't do that because it contains private information. But so we take our TCA and we put it in there. My other fabulous tech stack is a course. the quiz, and FirstHome IQ. And then also a wonderful tech stack we use all the time used to be called FinLocker. It's now called Key Steps. So I'll show you how we wrap that into everything. And a TCA, Monica, is mortgage coach. I'm going to actually show you what one is. To those listening, I don't know how to sell a loan with a piece of paper. I've used Mortgage Coach for over 8 years or so. And I recently showed it to someone that was using a piece of paper, using spreadsheets and stuff. And he's like, oh my gosh, this is going to save me so many hours. And literally, it takes like maybe 3 minutes. And when you're new, it might take 15, but we can whip out a formal presentation in a few minutes and share with your realtors. But I'm going to show you a few things, what we do. And I cannot live without Mortgage Coach. I wouldn't even know how to work again. But the same thing with Housing Link. And now FirstHome IQ and Key Steps.
So I want to call out a few things here that really I've noticed after interviewing hundreds and hundreds of top producers. It's called constructive tension. You notice how she had a customer that says, oh, I don't need that. And she's like, I call baloney on that. So that's like stepping into constructive tension with a consumer. And it's, by the way, it's one of the key differentiators between people that don't kill it in this business and people that do. Now, there are others. There is a certain level of work ethic that needs to be done to achieve that type of success. But another thing that I'm sure everybody's listening to this, like she's got a process. And she doesn't have like an unlimited amount of tools that she's using, but so far I've heard, she uses Mortgage Coach. TCA stands for Total Cost Analysis, but I've interviewed enough loan officers, you could call it a lot of different things. That's just the term that we use. She has what I call an omni presentation. That's Housing Link, where literally there can be a YouTube video, there can be Mortgage Coach link, there can be a PDF, like the pre-qual letter. It allows you, instead of like you send an email to someone and you've got attachments and links and, just a mess. It's like, it's one link and it's very thought out, but she tailors, she asks people questions. She makes sure you can tell every single consumer is learning something. She's teaching. In fact, she's teaching, her commitment to using the FirstHome IQ quiz. She's giving that to people at all levels. Like, it's not just something to give to students. It's not just to give to, well, by the way, it is, but that's not it. I mean, you want to give it to every first-time home buyer. You want to, and did you notice she gave it to loan officers? Some had licenses, some didn't. So again, the consistency, tailor, teach, and then lead. That just epitomizes Patty Newby.
Our favorite word on my team is pivot. It's like we all have t-shirts that called pivot. And it's because the way we think in January may not be the way we should be thinking in March. And I think all of us as astute learners in our field, we have to be prepared. We have to be louder than the media. So that requires us to pivot even harder. And I will share that I have a wonderful coach. I'm sorry if I offend anyone here, but I have a wonderful coach, Amir Syed, and probably the best coach I've had in 20 years with Go. And one of the things that he has us working on is bringing all of our everything into our own ecosystem. And Housing Link is a platform to do that. Think about all the stuff we do. YouTube, Loom, our flyers. Yes, I use that word. Our Mortgage Coach, all of the things that we do, a simple message to videos. And that is our solution for life. And then what's coming, I don't think I'm saying this out of turn, but refer a friend. So, okay, Mr. Client, who do you know that is getting married? It triggers who's getting divorced, who needs to downsize, those type of thing. And what I did put in the chat, so I've got a little over 3,200 presentations, over 18,000 views. And that's just from the last 8 years or whatever it is. So people are thirsty for knowledge. And I really feel that if they're not getting it from us and from you, they're getting it from somewhere. And they're probably getting it from the friend in the lunchroom who hasn't bought a house in 10 years. They're getting from their well-meaning realtor that knows limited stuff, right? Or they're getting it online, which, oh my gosh, is that accurate or not? So let's bring them into our ecosystem and educate them so that we protect ourselves, but we also protect our client with the correct information.
I want to call out a few other pieces of data for you. So that 3257, that's about 407 customers a year that she's delivering a financial literacy experience that gives her better conversion, makes her more profitable. And then all of those views, that's an average of about 5.6 people that every time she sends one of those links, 5.6 people or 5.6 times she's delivering an educational experience. I mean, think of the impact that she's making in her community. Think of the impact she's making for the customers she serves. So anyways, Patty, every time I hear you talk, I just get fired up. You're really special.
Thank you.
We have a lot of Go Coaching clients as part of our ambassador program, and Amir's been an incredible advisor. So I'd love to hear that.
He's tough though, man. You better do your homework.
Yeah. So I'd love to have you expand a little bit more on what you are doing with referral partners, and feel free to share your screen. I know you have some of this that you can show us today too, but I know you work a lot with builders and with realtors, and would love to hear how you're sharing that educational experience in a way that is also helping to build those relationships. So, but show us what you got here.
Okay, so what I'm showing you now is our platform called Housing Link. And every year I write a business plan. So my thoughts to everyone, if you don't have a business plan and like really know where you're going, that might be a good place to start. Last year, I thought I had, and I'm vulnerable here too, right? I had what I thought was, wow, some really awesome ideas. But my agents, it was my brain works kind of fast, but I gave too many ideas to my agent. My fault. But I'm here to learn too, right? Even after 20 years. So this year, I revamped my business plan so that I could be singular focused. And it is all on education. Because I thought if we educate our buyers, that's going to help our agents. If we give our agents tools and ideas, what to say on video, how to help them educate their folks, how to repost things online, wow, we could all impact our community. And I believe that when we help our referral sources, we don't need to worry about I've never worried about my own income. I just keep helping, and give and you shall receive. That's kind of worked for me for the last 20 years. So I came at my business plan with your money, your future. How are we going to help clients educate themselves? So this is the Your Money, Your Future was my whole 2025 mission for education. What I am showing you here, I send out in my newsletter. I'll give you some details here in a moment. And I send out a new theme every month. And I have an external site for clients. And what I'm showing you here is my internal site that I have privacy on. That is available for you if you have the link, the QR code, or my realtors or my referral sources. So that was our theme this year. Kristen, do you want me to kind of go ahead and get into the meat of this a little bit?
Yeah, sure. That'd be great.
Okay. So this is a video just about me, and not about me, but about my thoughts on education. So I did a video, my team put it on YouTube and did a cute little Canva thing. If you're not on Canva, there's Canva or there's Canva Pro. I think it takes $10 or $20. And so if you click this is just me trying to talk to my realtors on how important education is. Okay. And I'm sorry, I'm on a new laptop. So money matters was our first topic. So I'm going to share some things. This has been edited from my January presentation. Feel free to swipe anything or ideas for yourself. So this was hot off the press. So this is in the FirstHome IQ section. Kristen can tell you where in a moment. And I thought, what can I give my realtors every month that is fresh, that they can rinse and repeat and use themselves? So the first whole month, Money matters. Money matters. And the other thing that we did, guys, is we didn't put a date on this, so we can always recycle it next year. So right now we're on making a financial plan. This happens to be the January Money Matters. So these are our topics for 2025. Okay. And can you see me okay? I think a bar moved in front. Okay. So on the next slide, okay, what is financial? Oh, this is key steps. So I mentioned that earlier. It is a separate tech. Again, this is part of my education strategy, but you could get this later. I have found key steps to be very valuable. It is a retail algorithm, and it is free to the clients, and you can help a client prepare for buying a home. So for me, what's better to help them prepare and educate? We have to figure out our budget, our credits, and our debts. So we utilize this on our team for if clients are not able to buy now and they need a little credit TLC, we can all run the $5 report, but sometimes it's deeper than that. They can log on and do their own, hey, if I pay this down or pay that down, what will my score go up to? We use this for clients that are building. Maybe they're a 660 and we have DU approval, but maybe we want to get them to a 680 or 700. Let us help you save money while you're building. Or another way we use this for is after you close on your home. So we have a client on an FHA loan or a conventional loan at 620. We all know when rates drop, we're going to try and refinance those clients if it makes sense. We may help them save money on the rate. We may help them save money on PMI. But why aren't we doing some planning in the process to get their score up too? Again, it's about education. It makes them sticky to you. And they just rolled out, you can now brand this to your realtor. So your realtor's walking in the grocery store and says, oh, I want to buy a house, but I'm only a 600 or 500 credit score. I don't have very good credit. Call Patty. Here's my QR code. And let's start the planning process. My team can go as fast or slow as a client wants. We don't want to be pushy, but we do want to help clients prepare. So this tech right here is key steps. If you want to scan that QR code, that's cool. I did give Katie a QR code of this whole presentation. Happy to share. Okay. This is what the FinLocker education looks like. So when I took a snapshot of this, 58% of my clients were under 600 credit scores. How about yours? But I can tell what's going on. The system proactively sends us an email. It is a retail algorithm, not a mortgage algorithm, a little bit different. But the idea is we want your score up. Okay. And this, how many people clients are tagging this themselves. They're overcoming challenges. Well, did you have a divorce? Do you need a phone call? You know, what's your situation? Maybe you have a health issue. Okay. So we can tell what's going on in the system. This is the information that is available. Again, this is key steps. Okay. And what can buyers afford? So what I did in my presentation, I'll show you in a minute. I thought, what is the areas that we need to educate? Because realtors don't know, right? And I'll tell you, I edited it for the purpose of this, but I showed realtors a snapshot of clients' debts. Now, it was met privacy laws. I didn't have names or, what car company, but my realtors in the meeting were very knowledgeable. They're not new realtors. And when I showed them the debt that people like you and I probably see by pulling people's credit, they were flabbergasted. I mean, their mouths hit the ground. They're like, is that people's debt? Yes, that's people's debt. But again, we need to start with education. And I think when we do that, then we can make sense out of this. So this is my presentation, and bear with me as I click between screens. Okay. So this is part of Home IQ. So I just went over the PowerPoint presentation. This Money Matters presentation, I want them to pick it apart, share it, do videos, repost my stuff. This comes right out of FirstHome IQs. So this was the January series, Money Matters. This is what I shared with my agents. I do a newsletter on a weekly basis, as recommended by my fabulous coaching. My newsletter, guys, it used to be kind of icky. And I was really icky. So I stopped doing it. And now I've got it to a 67% open rate. And I've only been doing it consistently since January. So if you're going to do a newsletter, be consistent. Don't talk about mortgage products. Talk about how we can help our referral sources grow their business, in my opinion. And I have this link with the FirstHome IQ. That's part of the weekly letter that I send out. I'll give you a tip here. There is a free website called Send Check It. I think I've got it right. And what you do is you put your subject line in there. And again, I have room to grow too, right? And I used to put the loan designer in the subject line and whatever the subject line was. Ugh. I was getting like a 5 or 10% open rate. And I use this thing called Send Check It. And it'll tell you if your subject line is good or it's not so good. So I have my subject line when it goes out to about an A, 96, 98%. And now I'm up to a 67% open rate. So again, I think the cool thing about our community, we don't all have to go reinvent the wheel. We can share because there's plenty of business out there for all of us. So this is the Money Matters. This is the Money Matters worksheet. So a realtor can hand this out. Okay. Here is the quiz. This is part, again, my monthly newsletter. And then this is an example how to win now. So the cool thing about Housing Link is you can interconnect your presentations. So let me go to a different part.
Hey, real quick, Patty, because I'm gonna watch the recording, but I have to jump in a minute. But could you share a link to your Housing Link for everyone in chat so that everyone can get a copy?
I will. Katie, can you give that QR code or that link or somebody?
Yes, I'll put it in. Just
You're leaving on the best part, the TCAs.
I know. You're just getting ready to do the mortgage coach, but I will be watching the recording. And I by the way, I will also share. I did an interview with Patty probably about a month ago, and it was all about how she's being a mortgage coach. I think this looks pretty familiar, where you were showing people how to leave a 4 to a 6 and make them feel good about it, and also a little bit of financial literacy. This is how real estate appreciation works. Right. This is how mortgage management works. But guys, everyone watching this, guys, do what Patty does. Like literally, like tomorrow, start making sure that you're sharing the FirstHome IQ quiz with not only your first-time home buyers, but with everybody you can. Not only does it create a lot of value for folks, it creates a lot of value for you. Make sure that you check out Housing Link. It is what modern mortgage professionals use. I'm going to ask Patty to create a guided experience in Modern Mortgage IQ. We had the big Modern Mortgage event last week, and all the new content is going to be uploaded later this week. Right now, you can get a 10-day free trial for Modern Mortgage IQ. And I know Patty will be excited about being a guide and just creating little 10-minute, like, this is how you do X. So stay tuned for more content in that. But Patty, you're not only a gift to this community, you're a gift to everyone that gets to meet with you. So love this.
Thank you. You know, and that's the thing. I think all of us in the industry, especially if we made it through 08 and the last few years, we're all a little passionate or feisty or whatever word, but we all have some grit. So let's go. All right. In the bottom of my presentation, if you click on that, I've hyperlinked one presentation to another. So let's get into some meat. And I shared this with a realtor group of 15 this morning. They don't know. Okay, so I made one up that is leave the 4s, move to 6s. And doesn't that seem scary? But again, here's your current payment. Here's a sample of buy now with a growing family. Yep, you're going to spend more money. Okay, or you could wait to buy later when rates drop. You're going to spend a lot more money, at least in the state of Texas. That's what I've heard. And then show people buy now, refinance later. So what this does is it lets you know how you can save money. Okay, if you buy now, you can save $300 later. But look at the debt that you have accumulated between 468 and 511 by waiting later. If you have a growing family or downsizing or right sizing, we're all going to do it eventually. We just have to shut the media out, and yep, we're going to pay a higher rate. I was at the Economic Summit in Dallas a couple of weeks ago, and I'm not hearing anybody talking about going below 5.75 to 5.875 when rates drop. So why not put some points in it now and just get yourself a nice 30-year fixed rate? So what this does, I'm going to show a couple things. You can click on this later on. These rates are old. I did this like a while ago. Okay. And that's a cool thing, but whatever changes, it's all relevant. Here's the power of this. Net worth in 7 years. Okay. So yeah, you can continue to stay in your current home, or you can start to grow your net worth with your growing family now. Because in my experience, once people decide they want to have a growing family, they're really not going to change their mind. I'm not going to click on this for the sake of time, but if you click into more information, I'll click at one in a minute. We go over the payment breakdown with every client. I want them to start shopping for their home insurance in Texas. That's very expensive. I want them to understand PMI. Then another tab is for closing costs. I just put a made up number in there, like I think $5,000 or no closing costs. That's not relevant for the purpose of what we're demonstrating here. $5,000 closing costs. We go over escrows. And if you are excited about Mortgage Coach like I am, wait till you get to the third tab. It's the most underutilized tab ever. Okay, this is the power of 20 presentation. Am I going too fast?
No,
Just
you're
give
awesome.
everybody kind of highlights here, because
This
this is all available. And
And
sorry
we'll-
guys, I'm on a new computer, so I'm probably being annoying clicking around. Okay, what do we see realtors doing? We're trying to get more eyeballs on the house. I just had this conversation an hour ago with a broker. We have a list price of 700, and what's the first thing they do? They drop the price. Okay, and we all know that it is cheaper to drop the rate. Okay, if I drop that rate, $20,000, I could potentially save a client $420 a month. So when we're showing this to our buyers, we're explaining this to them for affordability. But guess what? Housing Link also has a section that you can use for listings. So if we have a buyer, don't we also want to help them get their home sold quickly? Yep. And so when the buyer decides, ooh, I'm not doing this or that, the dialogue I'll have, hey, do you like your realtor? Do you trust them? Yeah, I trust them. Well, then why aren't you listening to them? Right? Now I say it more eloquently than that, but in a nutshell. So educate them on what dropping the price is doing. Just for a show of hands, is everybody kind of educating their realtors on that already? Yes, no?
Patty, I was wondering if you could speak to how you're utilizing this, and maybe this is what you're heading into as you're approaching conversations with realtors. And because I feel like I'm sure this plays a big role in the kind of, realtor and probably builder business that you do.
Yeah, so a couple things. I roll out, if you haven't done a realtor event, try and get your realtors live in a room and share this with them. That's what I did. And I took my time and I went over it and I put it up on a big screen because, again, they don't know. So from a buyer perspective, we educate them. And I talk to the realtor if I don't know them when the pre-qual letter goes out. But we also help the realtor with listing. Hey, Mr. or Mrs. Realtor, I'll show you another scene here in a minute. What are you going to list their house at? Okay, 700,000. Realtors can put in MLS notes some information, but Housing Link also has another section for builders and realtors to showcase this. And you can take the presentation, I'll show you in a few minutes, and clients can actually post it on their own Facebook wall. But I think you just have to, I'm old fashioned. If we're doing a realtor event, we're trying to get as many folks in there. I have some folks that we're not able to attend. So we're starting to do our quarterly Zooms. And if I need to, like we had a realtor that says, hey, I want to start working with you, whatever, I'm going to get on Zoom and I'm going to talk to them and I'm going to do a one-to-one. So I know one-to-many is a big word that's trendy. Yes, I like 100 people in a room too, but I'm happy if I can get 20 to 40. And frankly, if I can get 10, that's 10 more people I'm talking to. But I'm sharing with them because realtors do not understand. And what the realtor is trying to really do, right, is if they're listed at 700, they're trying to, in MLS, get under the 700 so they get more eyeballs. Okay, go ahead then and drop the price, ma'am, or whatever, to 680. But maybe what you put in MLS is approved for special financing, because they can always bump the price up. So I have another section of Housing Link that says, call me for questions. Housing Link would be a whole other type of education that I know Scott Nicholson will be happy to do, or Dave or I, but you just have to educate them because they don't know. Who thought you could save $400,000 and protect appraisal values for when rates drop by just adding 20 grand of seller's concessions? I read a study in Texas, and I'm going to make up a number, but it was a number over 50% of homes that are listed for sale right now in the DFW area are having a price drop. Why? A price drop, whether it's 700 or 695, that's emotional. What is not emotional and is real is $420 savings to a buyer. And these are 30-year fixed rates. I do like a 2-1 or a 1-1 buy down if the client has a lot of debt, but I do not want to set the client up for, hey, you're going to have 2.99 or 3.99 in the future. So why are you having a fake payment, right? Now, if you're going to pay off debt, then you've got 1 or 2 years to get your act together to pay off your debt so that we can educate them on how to manage their debts going forward, right? So this is the power of dropping 20. And then I have a rent versus own presentation that you all have when I log off. And then I did one more. If I could get to it, I cannot. Okay, the power of 20, goodbye 4s, and then I did the rent versus own. I might not, but it's in the link, Kristen, that I sent. I'll show you one other thing because you asked this question, although I have to stop sharing for a brief second. Is there any questions? Does this seem cool? Is this boring? I want to be helpful.
This is awesome. Yeah, if anybody has questions, let's see, we've got a question from Jill. Could you expand further about how the Housing Link presentation setup works? How are each of the aspects of the various items created? So Jill, that actually might be a good follow-up. We have had Scott Nicholson on an ambassador office hours, and happy to we should have him back on and get into more detail around that. Although then there was another question she asked about how are you sending this out or a portion of it as a digital newsletter? So I'm assuming, Patty, you are including this in your weekly newsletters as well.
So on the link that I sent for today, yes, that is part of my newsletter. And every month I change it up as the topic changes up. We do a presentation to the client where I take my YouTube videos, any marketing material, our looms, any recording I want to do, and our total cost analysis. And we put it into a customer presentation where we still do a live Zoom call with everyone because I want to see if that couple is in sync. And that's my style. And then we call it our Smart Home Savings Plan. I'll show you a couple things to give you a teaser for Scott to come. It also ties your Experian reviews or your Google reviews into this. And then very soon is the deeper analytics that are coming. And then you can refer a friend and leave a review. So I'm a junkie of Housing Link. And again, what I did is I would suggest if you don't have a YouTube channel, start your YouTube channel. It's free. Go slow. I'm only going to show you one thing because I've taught this class a lot of times and it can be a little overwhelming. So I'm just going to show you one little thing to help. And they just changed the software. So just a quick second. The stuff that's coming on this, it's Wow. But I do believe in high tech and high touch. So you got to pick up the phone. Right. We'll just do this again.
I love how you're weaving everything in together, and it seems like you have a real, like you're thinking out your strategy well ahead of time in terms of newsletter, video, presentation, real.
Start slow. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have about 828 presentations. We have 170, like maybe I might record something about market news that are no longer relevant, or old products, or, we don't need to talk about the election, how it impacts rates, or the Fed rate. We don't, that's old news. But these are my private presentations with clients. So that client has links for life. But the cool thing in here is you can private brand this to your realtors and give them something called dynamic SMS QR codes. I won't show you what that is right now, but this is a listing site too. If I can, and I'm just going to pick one. This ties in Matterport's units. This is not mine. This is someone on my team's listing. We take the MLS items. We put the photos in. I personally invited all my top realtors to my house one day. My marketing team did a video of them, what makes them difference for listing, what makes them difference for buyers, and why they recommend us. And my marketing person, at the same time, they were sending the video up. We were creating the thumbnail from Canva, and we were putting their listing out. So when they walked out the door, they had something live as a QR code. So you can put your realtors' videos here. You can put their website. And then what did we do? We tied the mortgage coach together. And what we did is showed the potential buyer the payment options, list price, for special financing. So now you can see why you've got to have, in my opinion, mortgage coach, but you also, wow, if you can take it to the next level with Housing Link and FirstHome IQ, you're really completing the circle of education. But for those, I would probably start with your TCA first with FirstHome IQ, and then build into Housing Link slowly, because it's the opportunity within Housing Link for education is so strong.
I love seeing how you're embedding the presentations in there, and we can also embed we're transitioning the technology we use for the quiz, and we'll be able to embed the quiz in there as well.
Yeah.
But
then refer a friend. So now take that link and refer it to a friend, right?
So for those of you who have not are not familiar with the Ambassador program, I'm going to share with you just a few slides so that you can understand where Patty is grabbing this information and leveraging that, or even if you are an ambassador and are not as familiar. So we have built content around the idea that we are hitting the money milestones as someone needs to learn about financial literacy. We should be teaching even at 14. I love, Patty, how you talked about teaching your kids at 14 about credit cards. And we, by the age of 18, when people are getting credit card offers and student loan debt offers, they should know how that works, how their credit score works. And so we've created online courses, presentation materials, and quizzes that we talked about, where you can actually share this out with people and help them understand what they know and what they don't know about buying their first home. So Patty has her link, and she sends this out to her partners, to new clients. It's starting presentations with doing that quiz. Am I right with that, Patty? This is where you're incorporating that. So then as part of it, we do have a presentation that's free on our site, so you can access that even if you're not part of I think it's the Money Matters one that Patty was sharing. But if you are part of the Ambassador program, we have a big library of those that you can choose from and do a series, as Patty was referring to. We have presentation kits. So she mentioned having a worksheet in there. We have a presentation guide and marketing resources. You can see a mirror in here. And we have a lot of templates for like sending out emails or social media posts or videos. We post playbooks. So based off of this content, we'll create some playbooks out of that, and mastermind recordings like this. And so, oh, and then the last thing I would mention is that we just released our 2025 Next Gen Homebuyer Report, which is also a really great resource for sharing with Realtor partners, and doing presentations for Realtors. So if you want that slide deck, and you can have that for free, you can text report to this phone number or use that QR code. And we can also send you a little bit more about the ambassador program. But as we are kind of closing out here, Patty, I would love to have you like help us summarize a little bit and help us think through like what are, as for someone starting out that wants to maybe follow your process, because you've been incredibly successful with this process, but maybe they feel a little overwhelmed. Help us break this down a little bit as like, what are the first steps someone should take? And we summarize like, what could that strategy look like?
So I would get a trust engine or a TCA or mortgage coach. I would get that tech first. And then what I did before I had a YouTube channel, my hair's all different colors and all sorts of stuff, right? I would start just getting out a piece of paper and writing down every question that a client asks you over and over and over and over and over again. Credit, what's a survey, and earnest money, and how do you get rid of PMI? We all have a plethora of questions that, even though we're happy to answer them, most of our clients want to do it on their time frame. That's why people are Googling information. So they might as well Google, George or Adam or Lori versus a stranger. So get your YouTube channel up. And I would tell you, I felt really stupid about recording at first. Don't worry about it. Just be yourself. Don't be fake. Don't worry about you got to be accurate, but don't get all caught up in how you look, or as long as it's accurate. But I see people like do video stuff and they're like, oh, I went and had it professionally done. That's not real. People buy from all of us because of who we are. The lumps too. And sometimes I'll have a phone ring because I forgot to turn it off. And I'm like, oh, maybe you're calling to buy a house. Just roll with it. Okay. So get your videos done and then start to embrace the next thing. Look into your market and your realtors. Do you go with Housing Link next or FirstHome IQ? I think the biggest thing that's slowing down the market right now in 2025 in America is the lack of education and the ridiculous media. Whatever channel you watch, they're just waiting for the sky to fall. The sky is not going to fall. It doesn't matter what hiccups we have. We're all strong and passionate and feisty as hell, or we would not be here today in this year. So let's go. Let's educate our folks. And our folks could be your folks and my folks, so that they buy or list their house with you or me.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's great. That's so simple. And where do you fall into the newsletters that you create? When do you start?
Well, so I did it almost last. So I should have done it like 3 years ago, but I did it. So add things slowly. Start with one thing at a time, one item per month. And I'll tell you, like when I built out Housing Link 5 years ago, I had all my YouTube channel done and I didn't even have thumbnails. I didn't even know what a thumbnail was. I'm like, there's a video. Maybe I have a funny face. I don't know, whatever. And I just sat on the couch and turned on Hallmark after Christmas and I just loaded up my Housing Link. And then we just kept enhancing it over the years. It doesn't have to be perfect. Your clients want to hear from you, what you think, what your recommendations are, and your opinion. You're the subject expert. So start slow, but start. And even if you're older, I've had people that I've interviewed, because I'm the branch manager, and they're like, I'm older, I don't need that. I'm like, do you plan to work in the market more in a year? Then we have to be out there with technology. I sincerely believe, because if you're not going to do it, someone is. We don't want you handing them a spreadsheet and going, here's your rate sheet.
Yeah.
We don't want to do that. We want to educate the client. What's the best option for them?
Yeah, that's so good. I think
in my opinion.
I think it's easy to get really overwhelmed with how
It
much
is.
you can do. I mean, even for us, Katie and I want to do a million things with FirstHome IQ, and we have so many, ideas and parts of the strategy, but you have to take one thing at a time. And so, I feel like, but you simplified this for us, and it's proven to be very successful for you and your team. So,
But you bring up a great point, because when I first joined, right, you guys were sending me all this stuff. I'm like, nope, just ignore it. I've got it in a file, and I'm just with that one little section. Now we've mastered that for our newsletter. Now we can go on, but
yeah.
start slow.
It's funny you say that, because a lot of the feedback we have gotten is just that there's so much. And so we are in the process of creating a course that's just like, do this one thing. If you want to start your email newsletter, or you want to start your, creating video content, here's what to do. So you can choose that one thing, because it's hard for all of us to pick up something. And actually it relates a lot to the home buyer experience. For consumers, they tend to want to, they say, maybe I want to buy a house. So they go out there, but then there's so much information, they feel overwhelmed
Right.
and pull back out. So
Well, that's
for
why if
all
we
of
can control that, right?
us,
And I will tell our clients that, like, I have a bunch of resources there. So if you go to the top where it says resources on that link, there's all this information, but let's start slow. You don't need all that right now. But if you want to go see it, knock yourself out.
yeah. We're going to send out that link again in the chat, just to make sure you guys have that. And we will send out this recording to everybody if you want to kind of, go through this and start to piece together your strategy. But if anybody has any questions, feel free to drop those in the chat, or you can send those as a follow-up, and we will continue to leverage Patty as a case study. I just feel like you are, leading with education in a way that's really powerful, incorporating amazing technology and resources. Patty, what would be the best way for people to follow you?
Yeah, you can go on Facebook and drop me a DM, or send me some. I'll reply. I actually reply to those myself. So, and I'm on Instagram. I have a business channel on Instagram too. So if you see something you like, and ask, or copy me, just brand it with yourself, so they're calling you, not me.
I love that you say that, because I think following other people that are, especially like leading with education, and this is good inspiration. So people should follow Patty and get some inspiration on things that you can do. But the common questions and respond, creating videos over common questions is another really great way to create content. So Patty, thank you so much for being here today and sharing such incredible wisdom and inspiration. Just so glad to be able to share your insights with the community.
Let's just all go have a hell of a great 2025 and kick some media butt, and let them know that it's a great time to buy a house, right?
Yes, absolutely. Love it.
Excuse me for my language.
All
All right. Thank y'all.
right. Bye, everyone.